We want to welcome you to the broadcast. Thank you for joining. And we are going to see as our attendees come on. Vladimir, thank you. So we have some folks coming on right now. Excellent. Thank you all. We want to make sure that you can hear us okay, or hear me. And if you can, you have the option to either type in a chat, you can hear me, or you can raise your virtual hand. You have an option to raise your hand, and we will know we're broadcasting loud and clear.
I suppose that is one of the things that we will explain now.
Yes. I see a hand go up. Great. Thank you. And there's some chats coming in. Now, just so you know, and we'll be talking about this, everyone's camera will be turned off. So you will not have your camera on during the presentation. And we're going to explain, thank you. We're going to explain why your camera is off and the opportunity if you want to have your camera on. Good, thank you so much.
Now we have already 21 attendees.
Good. I see Arthur. Hello, Arthur. Thank you for joining. And others that I have met before. So many.
I will, John, am I in with the microphone?
You and I both are. So if you want to say something, Slavisha, go ahead.
Okay. I will greet Tarun Bhatia from far India. He is participated. So we have a participant from India. And very respectful friend of us.
Great. So did you want to say a few words first, Slavisha, and then I'll get started, or?
Okay. In this situation, when I will greet everybody, hello everybody, welcome to this webinar. In this situation, when most of us are, I mean, not most of us, all of us are in the unprecedented situation of isolation, most of the day spending at our home, even if we are used to go out, to be with clients, to be active, now we are supposed to stay at home as to save the lives, to stay healthy, and to save the other people to stay healthy. That's something that nobody of us ever think that it will be like that, but as it is, we are used to come to different problems in our lives, and particularly as the real estate agents and realtors, we are used to come to the different issues and challenges in our lives. So we are used to find a way to use the challenge as the opportunity to make something good. As we are not able to communicate, which is one of our basic activity with the other people most of the day, and also to communicate with our clients, I was thinking about using the technology to for this communication and to continue to take opportunities that we have staying at home. So normally, when we speak about using technology in real estate, I think about my dear friend, John Mayfield, NAR ambassador for Serbia, Bulgaria, and Greece, business tech guy, and instructor and coach for many, at many different places. And we all know that what already we have learned from him. And I suggested to John, hey, John, come on, are you willing to do a free webinar at this time to show us the way how to communicate to each other, how to do a meetings when we cannot go out and use our office or go to some place where we usually meet the other people, the colleagues, etc., our clients, how to do it, but to use all the possibilities that we need, because when we have a meeting, we have a possibility to show the photos, to show the documents, to show the even videos or the other things. But when you use the phone, we can only use the video communication this way, but not many other possibilities that we have alive. So I asked John, will you explain to us what are the technology applications that could help us to have a meetings, doing presentations, and to stay in communication with all possible features that we can use in a life. And now this is the first of the webinars. I hope, and I'm speaking to the other speakers from United States and the other countries that will join this initiative and help us, particularly in Balkan, in Serbia, Bulgaria, Romania, Greece, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, and this area, Poland maybe, etc., particularly to this area, to stay ahead with what we have to do to be more prepared for what will come after this problem passing, and to be more prepared to do our business better. So in the first of this, I thank you, John, because you accepted this invitation, and I would ask you, show us the way how to communicate in this time when we are in isolation using the technology.
Okay, thank you so much, Slavish. I appreciate you allowing me to do this, and I want to thank everyone for joining us. I've been doing webinars, educational webinars, believe it or not, since 2007. So quite a while I have been using technology, and especially technology for training, for providing sales meetings and other content to brokers all over. I've also spent some time living in France. My wife and I spent several months living in France, and yes, I have sold real estate from my apartment in France using the tools I'm going to show you. So it may seem different or strange, but it can be done. And here's something else that I want to mention. I've been doing a lot of webinars for associations in the United States as a free training. I'm trying to give back to my friends and colleagues that I appreciate and love so much. And when this all came about, I wanted to provide some free training, and I had 20-something associations around the U.S. ask me to do free training. So I'm doing 2 and 3 webinars a day. But I mention all of that to you to say one of the things I'm trying to tell agents in the United States is the real estate industry as we know it will never be the same. That's just my opinion. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that here we are, 34 people from around the world coming together to learn about how to deliver online presentations. 2 months ago, we probably would have been lucky. What do you think, Slavish, to have 5 people show up? It's it's the world we're living in. And I guess what I want you to understand is, as people become used to the technology, as they become adapted to the fact that, well, I can look at a property from my living room on my computer, they'll want more of that, I believe. Now, I'm not saying that people will never go back and look at, we'll still go and show properties. We will still have meetings at our office, but I think our business will be forever changed. One of my very good friends, who's a very intelligent person, said he's worried about commercial real estate in the US because as businesses and companies determine or realize they can conduct business remotely and not have to spend a lot of money for bricks and mortar offices, it could change the whole landscape of the commercial real estate. So I'm glad you're here. We need to learn how to use technology tools, and I'm going to show you some tools right now. So I'm going to very quickly pull up a PowerPoint that I have. And one of the neat things that you can do with a program like Zoom is you can actually share your screen. So I'm sharing my screen right now. You should be able to see, and we just want to make sure you are seeing my full PowerPoint, or are you seeing, let me make sure here. I just want to make sure I'm showing the correct screen here. That is screen 2. There we go. Okay, so you should be seeing the full PowerPoint now, correct?
Yeah, that is okay.
Yep. Okay, and I'm going to actually turn my video. Let's see here. Okay. So one of the things I want to share with you is we're using a Zoom webinar platform, or you can also use a Zoom meeting. I'll show you both of those. There are several other solutions I will share with you that I'm using that are very, very interesting and kind of fun to use to do online presentations. The one thing I think I would, whenever you're doing a presentation with someone or an educational session, because I notice Arthur and some others are on here, I like to do what I call housekeeping rules. In other words, at the very beginning of your meeting or your educational presentation, you need to explain to people that this is technology. I could lose my internet service. If I do, don't go anywhere, because as soon as my internet's restored, and perhaps you may need to use your hotspot on your telephone, you will come right back to the meeting room. So I always like to explain to people, very first, can you hear me okay? Can you see me? And hey,
yes, it's okay, John.
Yeah, no, just when you come on your meeting at the very beginning is the very first thing you should, if you're doing an educational event or something else, is make sure they can hear you, make sure they can see you. And then talk about technology, explain that you could have a problem, don't panic, you'll come right back. If you're delivering training to your associates, or you're doing an educational program, I like to have just a list of things I want to make sure they understand. So kind of go through that. I'm going to just skip and go to Zoom and show you the Zoom. This is what I use. Now, I know my friends in Bulgaria use Zoom. We used to use GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, same company. It's a very good program, but I want to tell you, when I've done online meetings with people from other countries, the quality and the sound with Zoom is so much better, so much better. So Zoom is a good program. It's free. If you use the free version, you only have you're limited to the features, you are limited to the time limit you have. If you upgrade, there are different options you can have. For example, I have an upgraded Zoom account, so I could do a training and I could put students in different rooms if I wanted to. And so only the students in those rooms could interact or talk. Sometimes in a live classroom, we have what we call breakout sessions, where you put people in small groups so they can discuss a topic, and then we all come back together and discuss it as one group. you can do the same thing with Zoom, which is really interesting. So you can host what is called a Zoom meeting or a Zoom webinar. Today, we are doing a webinar. For most of us, when we're working with clients, you would want to use a Zoom. In that example, you would want to use a Zoom meeting. A Zoom meeting is going to be a little easier. It's going to show each other's face. You're going to be able to talk. And so I think a Zoom meeting works better for smaller groups. This is an education. This is a group I meet with every 2 weeks on Monday. We've been meeting like this for weeks. And these are all real estate instructors. I'm working on a designation called the Distinguished Real Estate Instructor designation. It requires me to meet for a certain length of time, pass some rigid exams, submit a video of me speaking. And what I wanted you to see here is there are 9 of us that are online, with 2 of these are instructors, 7 of us are students, but it works very well. A go-to meeting, this is a go-to meeting, works very well for this size group. Now, last week, there were 64 of us online for a meeting that Zola, it was a wonderful meeting, and I think he's still doing these, that there were 64 people. There were actually, and I want to show you one of the tools, which is kind of interesting here. When you have Zoom, you have the ability of some tools, and I'm looking at it over my tools are on the other. I have 2 monitors here, but if you look right here where the little blue arrow is, there were 3 of these screens. Now, this is just my personal opinion. I think 64 people, although you can have up to 100, I think it's a little bit more challenging if you have a larger group to do a Zoom meeting. That's why we're doing a Zoom webinar now, because there are over 30 of us. Everyone's cameras are turned off. Everyone's audio is turned off. However, if we wanted to go out to a participant, I could go to Dan, and I'm going to ask Dan, my good friend Dan in Romania, to talk. So I'm going to allow Dan to talk. So, hello, Dan. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you for doing that. It's a
Good.
great
Yes.
initiative. And that's it.
Good. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to mute Dan back, and you can see that now Dan, I'm doing I'm doing a continuing education course tonight, and there will be over 30 students on my class. So 2 things, there'll be several things I'm doing throughout the class. I'm going to encourage them to talk, but this gives me more control, and there's not a lot of feedback. There's not a lot of distractions. And the students, quite frankly, can sit at their computer and not worry about their computer camera being on them and what they're doing. If they want to have their favorite beverage or a glass of wine, they can have a glass of wine or a beer while they're watching me present a CE class that they could never do in a live environment. So this is an example of a go-to webinar. It still has some good features, but when you're working with clients, I would encourage you to do a go-to meeting. And I'm going to show you how to do that here shortly, okay? Now, just to go through some of the screenshots, this is what my account looks like. And over here on the, I'm going to bring my spotlight, you could see that right here is where I would go to set up a meeting. This is where I would set up a webinar. This meeting's being recorded. If you would like to watch it again, I can go to my recordings and send you a link. I did a training session for some instructors in the US on Friday who are getting ready to present their first CE courses, continuing education courses, by webinar. Several of them wrote me and said, John, I'm nervous. Could I watch the recording again? And I had a link to the recording, and so I could send them the link. This would be the settings we will go into, and this gives you some personal links. So I have a personal link with my real estate school that I can give to students, and they could go right into that to watch the link. Okay, one of the other things I want to just show you now, keep in mind, if you're doing a webinar, the students will not see what I'm about to show you. In fact, none of you that are watching now have the controls that I'm going to show you. But when you're presenting, this is what Slavisha and I can both see. So I'm just showing you some screenshots, again, that you do not have access to, you cannot see right now, but the presenters do have access to. Now, the very first thing I would encourage you to do, and just go back to Dan and Arthur, because I know they do a lot of online training, and I know there's several others on here, possibly Irina. One of the things that does not set up automatically, and I would encourage you to do if you're doing training, and I will show you how to do this in just a little bit, but you want to check the box or enable a practice session. Slavisha and I were on the webinar before you joined, and he and I were able to talk. We were able to set our cameras correctly. We were able to visit about what we wanted to talk about today, and you could not hear any of that. So if you don't set a practice session, when you hit start the webinar, you go live. Last week, a friend asked me to do a webinar for him or with him, and we were training some people. He set up the webinar, but he did not set a practice session. So when I logged in, he started talking to me, and I knew we were live, but all of the students could hear everything we were talking about. So you'll notice that I have a practice session started, and right up here, when you're ready to begin the broadcast, you just click the broadcast button. You'll notice at the bottom, there are some options here that came up. So I can chat with students, I can share my screen, I'll show you all of these. I can start a poll, we can do questions and answers, and I can look at the participants. I can also control my video and audio. So a couple of things you want to do if you're having trouble with your video, there's an arrow button down at the bottom of, there's an arrow that points up down at the bottom of your screen. Now, a lot of times you won't see these controls as the presenter. So you have to take your cursor and move it around on the screen. And then the menu, the toolbar will appear. You might want to invest in a good camera. You can also set up what's called a virtual background. And that allows you to go into settings, and I can put a background. I normally use another background that has my logo of my real estate school behind me. I'll show you that in a minute. And it works very well. Again, if you don't, when you're presenting, now this is, and even while you're watching the broadcast, but when you're the presenter, if you don't see your tools, they disappear, just take your cursor, your mouse, and rub your cursor over, and it will give you the option. You also can pull up any chat messages or any information. And notice I can send messages to attendees or panelists. So if Slavish and I wanted to have a conversation now, if he wanted to send me a chat to say, I think you're too boring, speed up the pace, he could do that very quickly. And I see you have your virtual background on. But he could send me a message to say, don't forget to tell them about such and such. Or he could be answering, as a moderator, he could be answering questions that you're asking that he knows the answer to. Tonight, when I deliver my course to 35 real estate agents, my daughter will be monitoring the chat box for me so that she can communicate with students who have questions. And as there are needed questions, she could hand me a piece of paper and, or print that out. Notice right here, you can mute everyone, or I could unmute everyone if we wanted to do that. I can make my boxes pop out. I can have everyone raise or lower their hand. This is an example of a pop-out box. So I wanted to show you this, that if you are conducting a webinar, you might have your chat box open so that I could have my chat box right under my camera. So if I see a chat come in, I could immediately respond to that chat. I can answer questions. And this is interesting here because, believe it or not, you can have polls or questions. Now, again, this would probably only be applicable if you're teaching a course, but it's a great way for, and again, go back to my friend Arthur and my friends Arthur and Dan and Irina, if you're on, because those are the three I know who teach, and Slavisha, you teach as well. But this is a great way for you to keep interaction going. So you can poll the group. What do you think about exclusive representation? And is it good or bad? And you can give them choices. So you can do that as well. Earlier in the meeting, I went up in the top left corner and I got the invitation to the meeting right up here. And I sent that to someone who wanted to come to the meeting while Slavisha was speaking. There's more features here. I can broadcast live on Facebook. Now, this is a great feature if you want to promote your real estate. So we could go live on Facebook and we could promote a property. We'll show you how to do that in just a minute. You could also go live on YouTube, and I'm going to show you some other features for YouTube. Here's where you can set your audio settings. Again, down the up arrow next to your microphone. And then this is where you would share your screen. Now notice, I'm going to get my highlighter here. Actually, let's draw this time. And I will use this. So notice right here, I have a whiteboard. Now I can also, if I want to, use what are called stamps. So if you were showing something on your screen, I can say, here's a whiteboard right here. I can also plug my iPhone in or my iPad right there. So either one of those, I can stream by AirPlay or I can plug it in. And then if I want to open my web browser to show something on the internet, I can click this button and then I simply come right down here and hit share my screen. When you select the screen you want to say, let's say I want to select this screen here, then the last thing you do is come down in the bottom corner where it said the blue button and you hit share. Now I can go right up here and clear all the drawings at one time. But there are options for you to use, you can put a heart next to something, or I can go up here and use a question mark, or I can draw, and I should have done this right here. So I can draw something right like that if I want to, and I can even change the colors. So there's lots of things that you can do, and then again, you can clear all of that at one time. Now, I wanted to show you these because when I was in France, I sold, I had a couple of transactions that I closed, and I never left Nice, France. When I was online with my customers, I actually, and I'm going to change this to red, I actually had a map up of the property, and I drew around the map to show them how the property laid. I did a little better job than that. And then I could go and say, now, over in this corner right here, you're going to find, when you walk back here, you're going to find an old gate. And when you get to the gate and the fence line, that's where the property ends. Over here, you're going to find a pond, and you'll see a fence along that side of the pond. That's where the line is for that side. You could do the same thing if you're selling an apartment. You could actually draw out the apartment right here. And sometimes you have to be careful because you lose your mouse here. There we go. You could have your apartment, and you could say, here's the street, and the grocery store is 2 blocks over right back here. See how we could do that? So there's lots of ways that you can use an online, and it actually works pretty good. I'm going to just so we can go out to show you how this works, because I know we have a lot of people on the call who want to see how this works in this format. So I'm going to stop my share, and this time I'm going to reshare my screen, and I'm going to go to desktop 2 right here and share. Now you should hopefully be able to see Google. Can you see Google, Slavisha? Do you see my Google browser? I just unmuted you. Do you see Google?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. So give me your, what is, I'm going to just type in, let me just type in 77 Promenade. Let's just go right here. And I'm going to click on this just to bring this up. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this to right here. So I could actually show this property here. And if I wanted to, I'm going to pull up my tools, and I could say this is the apartment right here. Now there is a restaurant and a grocery store 2 blocks this way. And we could actually now go out if we wanted to, and I could point again. I'm going to clear my drawing so everything's cleared, but I could come out here and say, I'll do a red check mark, the nearest restaurant's right about down here. Now I might change that color, or I could use a pen. But again, I'm able to really take pictures and show those. And now I could say, let's go in the apartment now and take a look at it. And then I would just launch my PowerPoint with pictures of my apartment, and we could go right in and begin looking at those. So I'll come back over here and continue on. So you've got the ability to use these tools and to share your screen, and it just can really do some interesting things. Here's what my tools look like when I was in the annotation tools. You can see I can go to my mouse, I can add text, I can draw, stamp, highlight, erase, format, and clear everything. And here's an example of different things I did, and then you can change your colors, and then I can clear all the drawings. And if you have something that you've done a very good job and you think, boy, I'd like to save this as a PowerPoint, whether it's showing a client a property, or Arthur, if you've drawn something and you think, I would love to keep that because that's a great explanation of exclusive agency, and I've seen Arthur draw some very interesting things on paper, you can save that and save it to use it again. So lots of things. You can use a light as a backdrop. I'm actually using a light right now to give a little bit more light on me. And then you can also get virtual backgrounds if you want to download something and use. And so those are just some options that you can do through that effect. Now, let me show you a couple of other things I'm doing. And we're going to, one program I use right now is called Switcher Studio. I love this. It's because it's very inexpensive, but it allows me to use, you can probably see right here, it allows me to use my iPhone or multiple iPhones and my iPad to actually stream live to my YouTube channel. So if you have a YouTube channel, or if you have a Gmail account, did you know you actually have the ability to have your own YouTube channel where you can stream live? Here's my YouTube channel. And if I go to videos and I go to live, this is my live channel. And so if I click on this little icon here, it takes me into the control room. And from right here, I can, and I'm not going to go down below so others don't see it, but I have secret keys and secret things that I embed into my Switcher Studio. So when I go live on my iPhone or my iPad to write and draw, it actually begins to broadcast right on my screen. Now, what I did, and this is a secret that I developed, is you go to a website like GoDaddy. This is where you buy a URL. So you find a domain like Serbia Real Estate TV. And it is available for $1 and you buy that. So now when someone goes to www.serbiatv, they would come right to your landing page. Okay? Now, for my real estate school, students go to helpmepasstherealestateexam.com, and they are directed. I forwarded that domain name to my YouTube channel. So my students come here and they watch my education. I'm streaming every day from 4 to 5, except for this week, and that's why I changed the title, Check Back for Live Streaming. But this way, I can give out an easy domain name, and my clients or students can go there and they can watch my broadcast just like I'm doing with you. Here's the interesting thing about this. YouTube records the video and now it's available for playback. So if you go to my web channel right here, all of my videos are here, and I have a playlist. So if you want to watch certain videos over certain topics, all you have to do is watch those videos. These are new playlists. That's why there's nothing there. But some of you might be interested in agency. Here are all of my videos I've done covering exclusive representation, agency, and what the students need to know about agency relationships for the real estate exam. I only tell you this because this is going to be a new way to do business. And you can have your own television channel for free on YouTube, and you can promote it. And you could say, go to serbiarealestatetv.com or whatever address, if you want to do, in Bulgaria it's .br, I believe, or B, but you could use your domain name and once a week do a television program on the real estate market. Here's the other neat thing, and I hope I'm not getting too high tech on you. I hope I'm explaining it okay. With Switcher Studio, if I have videos I've taken of my apartments, I can upload them in advance. And when I'm ready to show the video of one of my apartments, all I do is press my little button on my YouTube, my screen goes blank, and everyone watches the video. It's just like you have your own television control room. So you can play videos, you can talk to people, you can share your screen. I can press a button and my logo and my name come up across the bottom, just like on TV. They call it a lower third. So there's some very interesting things you can do, and you can register a domain name like Help Me Pass the Real Estate Exam or businesstechguytv.com. And I'm streaming here every Friday. And one other thing, Slavisha, and then I'll finish so you can come on. My real estate school where I sell classes, this is my website. Guess what I've done right here? I have a menu button on my website, and my video is embedded here. So not only is it showing up on YouTube, but it also shows up on my website. So on your website, you could have weekly TV show, and when someone clicks on weekly TV show, they would come right to your page. And when they hit the start button, if you are broadcasting, they would be watching you broadcast. I also, on my website, have a link to Business Tech Guy TV. So again, I'm just trying to leverage and use today's technology to show my homes, to use my education, and to show my technology training all virtually for people who cannot get out and go to a live class or attend or go look at one of my homes. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you, whoops. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Okay.
So great, John. That's it for
Yes,
now?
I was going to let you had some things you wanted to share.
Yes, that's awesome. We get more than I expected for today. So, but you showed us how to use the Zoom application on very different ways, even for meetings or to show different documents, videos, or whatever. It was very interesting for me because when we are at home and want to stay in communication with our people, when we have one-to-one, it might be okay to use the phone. But even then, we need those things when we want to speak with our client, or maybe to show him the photos, or to do a listing presentation, or to show him the contract agreement that we have to sign and to communicate about the details. That's the way to the Zoom allow us to do it. And what is interesting, it can be used on phone as well as on the laptop or
yes. Let's try it right now by phone. So I have my phone. I'm going to click share my screen. This time I'm going to select AirPad. I'm going to, a plugin is required. So, okay. So, so now I'm going to let's see, choose Zoom, John's MacBook Pro, screen mirroring. Oh, just 1 second. I turned my Wi-Fi off yesterday because, so I am going to go screen mirror, here we go. And so you should be able to see my, do you see my phone?
Yes.
You see my phone now?
Yes.
So this is, I mean, you may be very well be able to come up here and I could say, go to
the photos to see.
Yeah.
Usually
So
we have a photos of
show me photos from Serbia. That's a tech tip you just learned. So here are my photos from Serbia. So you could pull up photos from a listing you have and show these just like this to a client.
So this will be where we will celebrate after closure.
Yes. And so all of my, so it's very easy to, I love this area. I have to come back but so if you have photos that you wanted to, pull up and share, you can do that right from your phone. So now I would just go back and click stop share. I think Irina had a question. I saw she had her hand up. You want to take some questions, or Irina, did you have a question? Let's see. I'm going to unmute you. Irina, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can speak now.
Yep, you can speak.
Okay. Hello, John.
Hello.
My question is, and thank you for the interesting presentation. My question is, what is the name of the package you use from Zoom? Because you mentioned you use Zoom meeting, you use Classroom, you use Webinar. What is the name of the package you bought from Zoom?
What I'm using now from Zoom.
Yes,
It's called.
not today, not today for the today's presentation, but in generally, what is the package you bought? Because for me, it's still not clear when I saw the plans and pricing in Zoom. If we buy, for example, Pro or business package, what is included from education and webinar options?
So that I think what you were, and I'll thank you for that, Irina. I think your question. Whoops. Let's see here.
What is the plan? The name of the plan you use?
Yes. So I'm a member of the National Speakers Association, and we have the option for an upgraded. They gave us a member benefit to buy a certain plan, and I think it's the one that is approximately 50 euros per month. It's the Pro plan. You should have the ability to do webinars. It's not the first level Zoom, but it's the next one up.
So we have another options. One is Zoom Rooms, which is only for certain people in a meeting. We have video webinars. Probably you mentioned about this. And as well, there is one package which is education.
Yeah, I will look. I will find out, and I'll send you the link.
Okay.
Irina was interesting about.
Sorry, Slavish, just to continue, what I see, because we use in Bulgaria package Pro, the screen is different for webinars, and the screen is different for our package.
Yeah, I'll get that, and I'll send you the link. I will check on it.
It means that in different cases we have to have different accounts.
Right. Yeah. So I'll definitely check on that for you.
What they said on their web page is there is a basic that is free plan, and you can have up to 99 video participants. This is dedicated to meetings. You can have up to 99 video participants, and one to one. When you speak one to one, that's just a meeting. But if
this
you
is only for 45 minutes.
Yes, for what?
I have the I have the business one.
Ah, the business plan.
Yeah,
okay.
that's the one I have.
Business plan.
Thank you.
John has the business plan as he is doing the webinars all the time. Maybe not anybody needs a business plan. So what are the options? I don't know if you can see what I shared.
We can.
You can. So what I shared from the Zoom website, where you can go and see that there is a basic, which is free. You can have up to 99 participants for meeting. Meeting one-to-one is just a meeting. It's unlimited time for you. But if you have more than more than two participants, you and somebody else, and there is third one, when you have a three participating, then that is a group meeting. And for group meeting, you have a maximum 40 minutes for free basic, which can be adopted, okay, for many purposes. But if you need to go higher and to have a more professional relationship, to be unlimited with time, you can use Pro, which is $15 per month. But even these prices can be lower if you pay it for the year. So if you pay Pro, for example, plan for the year, it could be something like $12 per month, but you have to pay the whole year. And after that, you go to business, which have more and more opportunities. And then for people that are doing professionally that, there are plans for webinars that are going up from $40 per month up. So you decide for what you need to use the Zoom. But for most of our application, everyday application, you see, if you can do a meeting with 99 people, that you can do many things with this.
Yes, and so the reason I have the business plan is because I'm a member of the National Speakers Association, and they arranged a member benefit, and we get that business at a much lower cost.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We have a couple of. Is there another question, Vladimir? You want to? Yeah, go ahead, Slavish, if you want to allow him to talk, because
Yes.
either one of us can unmute you and.
While you see.
Okay, go right ahead. You want to talk, Vladimir?
Yes. Can you see me? Can you hear me? In fact.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. I have a couple of maybe 2-3 questions. Can I ask now? Yes.
Yes.
Best regards from Slaviša from Serbia, my colleague from Serbia, and for you too. Thanks for this webinar.
You're welcome.
First question is, does everybody needs to have pay account, for example, Pro, or I don't remember the third one, so so we could use features? Let's say me as somebody who is the leader of the meeting. So does everybody else needs to have paid account, or only me? So I can use separate rooms, for example, and so on and so on.
Yeah, just you would be
question.
the only one that would need to subscribe. The people attending don't have to pay for Zoom.
Okay, so I assume because what is the difference? Because we are already running Skype meetings. What is the difference regarding Skype and Zoom, and how I call people to the meetings? Should they have open accounts already? I suppose yes.
No.
And how it? No, or just say send a link for.
Just send the link. So if you allow me, John, so you don't have to have a paid plan. If you need a paid plan, get it. But
I will.
don't need it.
Yeah, for a long time I used the free plan and it worked great for me.
Yeah, I understand, of course, because it's up to 15 people. I suppose it's okay.
Right, and I find Zoom, the quality is much better than Skype personally. I think maybe Skype has gotten a little better. I haven't used Skype for quite a while, but
for example, I have problem with Skype regarding sharing screen, which is very important to.
Yes, Zoom's very easy for that. And once you get that, you just need to get in and practice a little bit, but it's very easy for that.
Okay.
So, okay. But yes, and we just really what we wanted to do was show you there's a lot of people signing up for the free Zoom, how to use it, and also just to encourage you to think outside the box for sharing property. I want to know, how did you get the video for your virtual background?
No, you mean for Slaviša?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Back.
I just wanted to show one of the features of this. John was speaking about that. I did it because this is a place where all of us would like to be there, I suppose, when we are at home at isolation. So if you are somewhere where you would like to have a meeting, you need to have a meeting, but you don't like anybody to see where you are at that moment, you can use the feature that Zoom allows you. So as John explained, if you go out, down there, left corner, you have a video camera, and on the right of that camera, you have a arrow up, going up. Click that arrow, and then you can find the possibility to do a virtual background. So I choose this one as I like to see side, and this is allowing you to do a meeting from somewhere where you would not like anybody to see where you are. That's one of the features. Another important thing is when you do a meeting, for example, with the clients, buyer and seller, and you want to do a negotiation, what we do in the office. Sometimes the buyer wants to have some consulting with us in another room. What you do here, just turn off the microphone, turn off the video camera, and then you can speak only with a buyer or seller, you know, another. And then you can do all the meeting with using of this technology. Besides that, this green button, share screen, I suppose, it is one of the very valuable feature of this. So when you use share screen, you can use with anybody you speak whatever you need. Is it agreement? Is it contract? Is it photo, video, whatever? You can share with the people. And then you have a meeting as in the best office, you know, where you have all the opportunities as in the office. So that's what gives us the opportunity to work from home using only, we need to have only mobile or laptop and internet. As soon as we have it, we can do a meeting, we can do a listing presentation, negotiation, whatever we need to. And Vladimir was asked, do my client, do my participant have to have the Zoom? No, it doesn't have to have the Zoom. So it's enough when you send him a link, when you schedule a meeting, you send him a link, he click a link, and he joined the meeting through his browser. He doesn't have to have if he doesn't need it. So it might be interesting because not all of our clients, buyers or sellers, would like, need a Zoom for everyday work. But for that opportunity, you invite him and you send him a link and you speak to him. So that's it.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us.
Okay. Thank you, John. I hope if there are not other questions, except those that were written here, we will try to answer all the questions afterward. If you like this webinar and you have some other topics that you would like to cover, to be covered in the webinars, please write to me whatever way you like, whether by messenger, by mail, or whatever. My mail is, let me see if I can write it here. I will write it. So I will use the technology. Slavica, let me see, at gmail.com. So anybody that has some suggestion, question, or some other topic that we'd like to be covered by leading instructors of the world, please write to me. I will try my best to get them. We started with John to help us at first to communicate, to use this tool as Zoom, and he showed us some other tools that we can use in our opportunity. The next opportunity, maybe it's not next, but for sure one of the opportunities that where you can listen, John, speaking about technology is the conference Learn to Succeed. John is an ambassador, as I said, for Serbia, Bulgaria, and Greece, and he's invited to be speaker at Learn to Succeed conference that is moved to September 24 to 26 because of coronavirus. So I hope we covered this topic and it was helpful to anybody. I already have agreement of at least 2 speakers from United States that will do a webinar for the other topics. follow information on my Facebook page, follow the invitations and events of that. And if anybody has interest to participate, please don't hesitate to send me your mail or application, etc. John, thank you one more time.
Thank you. I did put my link in the chat box. Every Friday at 11 a.m. Chicago time, I'm doing free technology training. There's no charge, and we're taking one app and diving in deeper. I'm trying to keep them around 30 minutes so they're not real long, but join me, it's free. And a lot of times I show all of these tools at my conferences. This is a way for you to come and actually learn how I use those tools. And I try to go very slow and make sure everyone can.
I will emphasize another one because most of the great instructors and speakers are doing now free webinars that at the time that they can have for us, share with us, and one of them is Zola Serences. Zola was already a week with us, having a free webinar for all the realtors from the East Europe and wider of that. We are participating at that webinars at usually at 2:30 Belgrade time, and all realtors from Serbia. I suppose Zola is allowing that to invite all the realtors from Serbia, Bulgaria, Greece, Romania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the other countries to join these webinars. Thank you very much. Stay active, guys. Stay safe and stay home.
Thanks. Bye.
John, can you hear me?